Welcome. My name is Thomas, and I'm here to share in this video how to fill out a 4137 form. And this is for people who normally work in the hospitality industry who receive tips, waitresses, waiters, bartenders, servers. So people who work in the service-based industry who generally receive tips as part of their pay, where box 7 and 8 is filled out when it comes to their W-2 income, and the way you calculate that wages is on those type of incomes is totally different than you would a person who doesn't have any tip income at all. And so in this video, I'm gonna go through some new features in 2019 Drake, as well as going through the actual form itself line by line, as well as going to the software version of the form to show you how simple it is to fill out the 4137. So I've been in this industry for the last 19 years, the last 13 as a business owner. So I specialize in helping people who are already working in this industry transition from working for a tax firm to owning their own tax business. That's what I specialize in doing for people who are ready to make that move. I also offer consulting services to people who need the training, mentorship, and support when it comes to setting up their own tax business and getting started, and having someone to reach out to help them with any questions, concerns they may have concerning their tax business. Is another service I offer to clients. So I'm working with several people right now, some in my local market, some outside my local market, based on what I specialize in as far as being in this industry as long as I have. And so again, in this video, we're gonna go over a few new features along with the 4137. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe and hit the bell for notifications so you can be notified every time I upload a video or go live. You get to follow me on my journey as I continue to be in this industry for 19 plus years, 13 as a business owner. So the first thing I want to point out is a couple of new things concerning 2019 Drake software. One of the first new things we're going to deal with is page 1, where it say name and address. One of the new features on this page is they ask the question dealing with virtual currency and foreign currency. Last year and prior years, the only time we really answered the question dealing with foreign currency is when we was putting in information dealing with interest income or having something dealing with a bank or money. They would ask that question about foreign income, but this year they asked the question about virtual currency as well as foreign currency. And the thing is, virtual currency is popular, Bitcoin and some other virtual currencies out here where people are making substantial income from it. And in our system, we in the pay-as-you-go system, the IRS wants to tax all income worldwide, regardless of where you made it from, regardless how you generated it. They want to tax all income. So anything that allows you to generate income, you need to know, they want to know about it, so and so that's one of the new features on page 1 is that question. The next thing that's new in Drake 2019, we're going to EIC 8867, and what they did was at the bottom of the page they broke it down even further by separating the EIC, the child tax credit, the district child tax credit, the independent credit, the American Opportunity Credit, and the head of household credit. Those 5 different credits that a lot of taxpayers get. So they broke it down even more when it comes to that. And so this page here affects people who receive earned income credit, especially, more so than any other credit. Is what the IRS is really going after and looking at, because billions and billions of dollars are still being given out to clients who technically don't qualify for the credit. And so that's the issue I've been having with this credit ever since day one. And they'll always have the issue with this credit until they take it away. That's just the nature of reality. So that's another new feature with 8867 form. All software is not created equal. Drake is the only software that I ran across at this point that I know of that has due diligence forms in there for people who receive earned income credit, which is part of their refund. Like I say, I haven't had the opportunity to use all the softwares because there's a lot of softwares we're talking about, but from the ones I've used over the time I've been in this industry, Drake is the only one that has due diligence forms inside of their software for people who receive earned income credit. And so Drake is real robust and detail oriented when it comes to people receiving earned income credit, child tax credit, district child tax credit, and those different type of credits, which won't be processed to February 15th of this year, and that's a law they passed back 4 or 5 years ago concerning people who are receiving additional tax credit, earned income credit, and all those other credits that make up their refund. They're not processing those to the 15th. So at this point, if your tax return has been done already and the e-filed over, it's just sitting in the queue waiting to be processed on February 15th. So the earliest we'll see some money coming out based on my experience in being in this industry will be around February the 22nd, 23rd, like we did last year. And so it's very important to read each question one by one to make sure you answer them correctly. I made a grave mistake years ago by not fully reading these questions properly, and I was answering the question wrong on 4, where it say, did any information provided by the taxpayer or third party or reasonably known to you in connection with preparing this return appear to be incomplete, inconsistent, or incorrect? And I was saying yes to that when it should have been no, and that's because I wasn't truly reading the questions in detail like I should. I just assumed, and that you want to do that. You want to read each question fully to understand what they're asking, so you can make the right choice in answering the questions. So the next step we'll go to is we're going to go to the electronic form 4137. And it just asks for who the form belongs to, so you link it to either the taxpayer or the spouse. You put in the EIN number, the employer's name. You put in the money from box 7 and 8, and basically that and a couple and maybe fill out question 5, and you're finished. But that's the difference between the electronic form versus the actual form. You know, I've been teaching a basic tax course for over 12 years, and so I'm used to teaching the course by hand. So we actually fill out all the forms by hand, step by step. So we're going to go to the actual form that creates once we fill in the information by going to view mode. And so here, 4137. So this is the actual form that I teach people how to fill out in my tax class year after year that we go over, which is totally different than the electronic version of it. And that's the difference between all forms inside the software. They'll always be totally different than the actual forms that we fill out, especially if you've been learning how to do these things by hand like I teach them, because that's how I learned how to do taxes back in 95 through a Jackson Hewitt course was by hand. And so that's the model I use when it comes to teaching this course, is by hand. And so, like I say, when it comes to this information, it comes from the W-2. So the W-2, right here, box 7 and 8 has figures in it. 7 has 1,025, and allocated tips. Box 8 has 2,670. So that's where we get the information from to fill out the form, along with the EIN number, the employer's name. You know, so all this information basically comes from the W-2 when it comes to people who receive tip income. And so back to this form, it says Social Security and Medicare tax on unreported tip income. That's the title of this form. And so that's why we filling this out, because they work in an industry where they received income that wasn't, that was unreported tips. And so now they're reporting it. It's going different boxes of the W-2. It's a special way we calculate this type of income to get the total. And I'm going to show you here by going to the 1040, by going back to the W-2 again. The W-2 says $14,489 in box 1. But when we go back to the 1040, we have line 1 that says $17,259. And so that's much higher than box 1. And the reason for that is, and as you see right here, line 1 says 4137, box 8, 2670 added to box 1 came out to 17,259. So that's how you calculate your total when you're dealing with that particular type of income on a tax return. So if you were doing this by hand, you would have to know that already, because if you didn't, you would just strictly use, you would strictly end up using box one total, which is 14,589, and the results will be off because the way you add the income for this type of return was not done. And so that's what you have to understand when it comes to tip income. You got to know how to do it. So the 4137 we're going to go back to. And so it asks us for, of course, the taxpayer name, their social security number. They want the company's name, the EIN number. They say total cash and charges, tips you receive, including unreported tips, $36.95. So that's a combination of box 7 and 8 on box 3, on column C. They added those two columns together, 7 and 8, to get this total. And then box D say total cash, charge, tips you reported to your employer. So 1,025, which is in box 7, is the tips that you receive throughout the year from the job directly, that you told your employer that you made, that they put on your W-2 for the year. And so that's how that works. And so those are the things we do on line A. And then from there we go to line 2. It says total cash and charges, tips you received in 2019, add the amounts from line 1. And so line 1, they just simply brought the total down to 2. And then 3 said total cash and charge tips you reported to your employer in 2009, which was the 1,025, which was strictly brought down from line D. And so it says in 4, subtract 3 from 2, and it gives us 2670, which is the amount of box 8 of the W-2. And then 5 is 0. 6 says unreported tips subjected to Medicare tax, subtract line 5 from 4. And once we did that, we have this. And so when you use the formula by going to the next line, which is 6, unreported tips reported to Medicare tax subject line 5 from line 4, they already have amount here, which is predetermined, 132,900. 7 says maximum amount of wages including tips subjected to Social Security, which is line 7, that's the max. And then on Social Security tips, that's the max. You can be taxed once you get to this amount, you know, there'll be a tax on Social Security. Medicare is unlimited. Box line 8, total Social Security wages and Social Security tips totals, boxes 3 and 7, shown on Form W-2, and Railroad Retirement RTA compensation 6.2%. And so the results came out to 15,614. Well, when it comes to using a 6.2% on this number here. And then what happens to 9, subtract 8 from 7. And so when you subtract 8 from 7, it comes out to 117,286. And then we go to 10, where it says unreported tips subject to Social Security tax into the smaller line 6 or 9. So the smaller 6 or 9 will be 2670, which is right here on line 10. Then it says multiply line 10 by 6.2%, which came out to $166. And then line 12 says multiply line 6 by 1.45% of Medicare tax rate, which came out to $39. So those two put together came out to a total of $205, which we moved this total over to the 1040 form. Go to the 1040 form, and so we go to the back of the form, and says 15, line 15, other taxes including self-employment from Schedule 2, line 10, which is the 205. And so if we go to Schedule 2, that's where the 205 come from, and the Form 4137 was checked to let you know what form was generated and filled out in order to get this amount. And that's how we do the 4137 form, which is titled Social Security and Medicare tax on unreported tip income. And so that's how you would prepare that return. And like I say, for my clients and students who taken my course, who learn how to do this by hand, they would actually take this form here and fill it out all the way from the beginning to the end. And so that's a big difference between learning to do taxes by hand versus more so through electronic means. So I'm gonna exit out of this. And so, like I say, those are a couple of new changes in Drake 2019 that I've noticed so far, as far as the forms and with 8867 and with page 1 asking the question with virtual currency / foreign income. So as I go across any other new changes in 2019 Drake, I'll definitely do another video to inform you about that. And so I have more videos to come. I know I haven't done any in a while, but as tax season starts to build up momentum and I get busy, I'm not able to put together videos on a consistent basis like I was prior to the season starting. So bear with me, but I will be taking care of the videos that you requested to see, and 4137 was one of them. Give me a reminder again on some other forms and schedules and returns you would like to see done inside of Drake 2019, and I'll see you in my next video.